I'm alive. I had a major malfunction. Did anybody see my malfunction? Now I got to get all set up again. Oh my gosh. Can you hear me? I was just about to get things going, and this whole coffee spilled everywhere. And I was yelling for Eva to come help me. All right. Center yourself, John. Okay, now I got to get my camera working. Woo! Holy moly. All right. Oh my gosh. Hey, we got Murphy's. So where did you guys jump in? Did you see I don't know how far along I was in my countdown. Did you see the catastrophe? Did you see it happen? Or when did the countdown timer end and you saw me? What was I doing? What was going on? Holy moly. We're going to talk revival. What camera am I on? That one. No. Yeah, that one. Here we go. And all right. Wow. That was insane. What a mess coffee can make if you let it. All right. So yes, it's the dumb devil. Thank goodness for little critters like my wonderful daughter, Eva, who can run and help me in the moment. Am I live? Can you guys hear me? Are you there? There's not that many. We only have a few. All right. So we're going to get into talking revival and how to host revival. And I was going to try to have something pulled up before my disaster happened. So I'm going to try to look for that as well. Oh, you didn't see any of the chaos. So it was like, I shouldn't have even said anything. It was seamless. All right. But I want to pull up something that I wrote the other day. Of course, follow me on Facebook, and you're seeing a ton of revival stuff right now, which is super to be expected, I guess, because that's who I am. That's what I do. I am a revivalist. And we have launched Revival X here in the Branson area. But there's so much stuff going on out there regarding revival, so much confusion. It's just crazy. And there's opponents of revival, and there are people that are, overly cautious, and they're standing back and they're waiting, all sorts of stuff going on. And, revival is extremely fragile. And if we aren't careful, it fizzles out. And, one of the things that I'm hearing people say is that you can't stop it, that revival cannot be stopped, which is nonsense. It's unbelievably untrue. It can easily and is easily often stopped. Usually, almost always stopped, hindered. And we need to learn from this. I don't know where people are getting their history lessons. I don't know where they're getting their theology or whatever, thinking that, if God just shows up and revival hits, then it's automatic and it'll stay as long as he wants it to stay. It'll stop when he wants it to stop. I don't understand that. So much in the kingdom is dependent on you and me responding rightly or not responding, so we absolutely have a responsibility to host revival. Churches are going to have to figure it out. I put something on Facebook the other day that said, stop praying for revival. Stop. I'm going to move this camera over a little bit so I can see better. There we go. So I'm like, stop praying for revival. Because it's going to cause all sorts of problems, and revival is messy, and revival is problematic, and it's taxing, certainly demanding, right? And if we aren't ready for revival, then, and we're not ready to pay that price, stop praying for it. Why are we even praying for it? What's that all about? Because if we're gonna pray for revival, we better be ready for when revival hits. And of course, we're hearing with Asbury and all of that, and they're like, well, they had to stop it, they had to cancel it, they had to stop the meetings. These people, what people are saying is, well, you can't stop revival. Well, they did. And, by the way, I'd encourage you to check out my latest video. The one before this, it wasn't live. It was just a regular studio video where I talk about this. And I'm pouring my heart out in that video and crying out. And this idea that, people are saying that, well, you can't stop a revival. And that's not true. And reality is Asbury absolutely did stop the meetings. They said that they were going to announce where the meetings were moving to, and unfortunately they have not done that, and they've distanced themselves. In fact, they even put a post out the other day. There's an event, I alluded to it in the previous video. There's an event at Rupp Arena in Lexington, and Asbury actually put a post out saying that they have nothing to do with that. Now I don't know who's putting on the event. Maybe there was reason for them to distance themselves. I have no idea, no clue. I just don't know. I don't have any idea about that ministry. I don't understand why Asbury had to put out that announcement. Maybe it was just simple confusion that people thought Asbury was putting it on and they're getting lots of phone calls. I don't know. But they haven't, they're basically done, right? They're done. Yeah, and let's see what we got here. We got Abigail says this. It's like praying for rain, then complaining when we finally get it that it's too cloudy out. Yep, it's very true. And, so if you're going to pray for revival, and I think a lot of it is people just don't understand what revival is. They just don't understand it. They don't get it. They think it's a 1 or 2 week special event. I think that's what a lot of people think. Maybe growing up in the good old days where there would be revival meetings or revivals were announced. You're having a revival next week. Old country tent meeting revival, which are cool. I love them. But they have this idea of like there's a definite start time and there's a definite end time. That's not revival. That is not revival. Those are meetings unto revival, and that's great. And I don't even have a problem calling them revival meetings. I don't have a problem with that at all. They are meetings marked by the spirit of revival, marked by the blueprint of revival, marked by the intention of revival, marked by contending for revival. And so I don't have a problem. I absolutely have no problem with these short-term, planned meetings being called revivals. I don't care about that. I think that's fine. In fact, I think it's good. I like it. Let's hold a good old-fashioned revival meeting. I'm all over it. I love it. But in terms of actual outpouring, actual revival that has been ignited, that's different. And revival is never supposed to go out. Meetings can shift and change, and they can be dynamic, and there's all sorts of that, but they're really never supposed to end. So in what I believe is that the outpouring that hit Asbury should have continued until God lifted his presence off of the meetings. And hopefully he never would lift his presence off of the meetings. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. Can you imagine now having a school, little Johnny, where do you want to go to college? Where do you want to go to Bible college? Where do you want to go to seminary? It's like, oh, how about the one that is in revival? How about that one? If it's me, And I have some good choices out there. I can go to Oral Roberts University. I could go to IHOP in Kansas City. I could go to a variety of different places depending on what I'm trying to accomplish in my life. Evangel University or in Springfield, go on and on. But if I'm looking and I'm like, wait a minute, there's one that they're always in revival. There's always signs and wonders. God is always moving. Students are in services 4 hours a day. I'm choosing that school. I can't believe Asbury missed the opportunity. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. Man, can you imagine? Can you imagine having that opportunity to go to school somewhere where revival is nonstop? And revival is biblical normalcy. It's not special. It's not supposed to be special. It's supposed to be normal life, normal. So churches where the Spirit of God is breaking out and revival is happening, normal, not special, normal. And in order to host a revival, and this is what I taught on at Revival X here in Branson. You can listen to that teaching. It's online. And this is the title of the teaching. Nothing else competes. Nothing else can compete with revival ever, other than short-term, momentary emergencies. Nothing competes with revival. I'm not saying that nothing else matters and nothing else is important in life. I'm not saying that. I'm saying nothing else can compete. So if you're a church or a school and you are contending for revival to break out, you need to know that nothing else can compete. There can be nothing else. Before revival breaks out, as you're contending for it, and then also after it breaks out. So when revival breaks out, you have to make sure that you are all in. You're all in. You are all in on the outpouring. You're all in on revival. Everything you do, everything you're teaching, everything that you're giving leadership to, everything is revival. And of course, there's different elements within revival, different aspects, different focuses, of course. But everything's about revival. Why? Because revival, again, is biblical normalcy where the Spirit of God has freedom to move. And in that environment, people are delivered, they are set free, they're saved, they are empowered, they are equipped, they're discipled, they're refined, right? They're launched, they're called, they're sent. All of these things are happening in revival. It's unbelievably inefficient to do all of this stuff, or sometimes impossible outside of a revival atmosphere. Here, and there are people that would disagree with this statement that Abigail just made. God was so blessing that school that school so much, and they completely turned it away. There are many that would disagree with that. And it's not that I don't understand their disagreements. It's not that I don't get it. I get it. And I understand their point. And I understand that they are, attempting to be full of faith and believe for the best and believe that it's going to spread. And of course it is spreading. It's happened in a lot of different locations, a lot of different schools, especially universities and different institutions like that, which is incredible. I love that. But the question now becomes, for every one of those locations, are you ready to host revival without stopping it? Are you ready? It's a critical question. Are we ready? Are they ready? Are they ready to cancel so much? Are they ready to cancel sports? Maybe sports programs. Maybe are they ready to rework the schedule, the education, the classes? Are they what are they willing to do? Some of these are secular universities. Well, that's a different story altogether, right? But especially the Christian universities, what are you willing to do to make sure that this revival doesn't go away? Are you going to steward it? Are you going to invest money into it? Are you going to invest energy into it? Are you going to pray nonstop into this thing? Are you, what are you going to do? Super, super important question. Or is your mindset that it's going to end soon, so let's just kind of ride the wave, and when it's done, it's done? And if we have to close the doors early, we'll close the doors early. One of the most heartbreaking, guys, and I'm not trying to be overly dramatic. I'm really not. I'm really not. And I'm certainly not trying to be critical. But there's the apostolic part of me and the prophetic part of me that can't help but to bring order to some of this stuff, and at least identify disorder. And it was an absolutely heartbreaking photo that I saw of, now you remember all the photos of Asbury and thousands, some people are saying over 100,000 people visited. And there's these maps of people from, showing where people visited from all over the world. And, and so we remember these photos of just thousands of people all over the lawn and in the parking lot and cars everywhere. And the most heartbreaking photo that I have seen of the Asbury revival was a shot of the grounds with nobody on the grounds and barricades put up so nobody could get on the grounds other than students. They were barricading people from the place where revival was breaking out. I'm not trying to be overly dramatic. I'm not. I just don't know, guys. How do you barricade people away from revival? There might be stuff that I don't know about. I'm given the benefit of the doubt. There could be. But at least, I'll tell you this, at least their communication was not good. I'll just say that. And I continue to see people on social saying that they're coming. They're so excited. They're coming. And when are the meetings? And people have to tell them, no, don't come. There's no meetings anymore. Don't come. Don't come. And you got all these people saying, well, revival is within you. And, well, they have no idea what revival is. They don't get it. So I would, I'm just in this place of, we got to be ready. There's ways to host revival. There's ways not to host revival. There's ways to pray. There's ways to be expectant. There's ways to, natural, in the natural realm to prepare. I think, we should be ready to sow money into it, and also this is why I'm a big believer in the city church. Is it should be, we should have city blueprints already, that when revival breaks out, that churches are already signed up, that when it breaks out, you can come here for prayer, you can come here for public meetings, you can come here for deliverance, you can come here for teaching on the revival. So we've got all of these different churches that they're prepared, they are ready when revival breaks out. And now a small town can easily host thousands and thousands of people. So, where are we at with this, everybody? I'm doing the Revival X thing here in Branson. I'm expecting an outpouring. I want that. But it's going to take huge amounts of work and prayer and preparation. It's going to take, finding, the right folks that are ready to run the race at this level. It's going to take a lot. I'm not pretending that an outpouring is going to break out overnight. I don't see that. I mean, I would love to see that, but I'm not. I understand that there's enough that goes into it, that has to go into it, typically before we see it break out. And so I know there's some time, probably coming between now and any measure of outpouring. And I also understand it might not even happen at my church. It might happen in other places, at other churches, and I'm all for that. I love it. So there's ways to steward it. There's ways not to steward it. I'm just beside myself, I guess, in some ways, just trying to figure it all out and trying to find, some understanding as to why things happen the way that they did. If you go to Asbury now and there's nothing to do there, from what I understand, there's nothing. I guess there's some different little events popping up, and I'm believing that it's going to keep spreading. I'm believing. We can't drop the ball. We got to stop dropping balls. We can't drop the ball. We've got to be all in, and we've got to expect revival to endure. So that's what I have. I just wanted to jump on here. There's all sorts of different specifics and things we could talk about. There's certain theological things that we're going to have to teach on, leadership things we're going to have to teach on. We're going to have to be prepared. We're going to have to be unified around. So there's stuff. And to Asbury's credit, they jumped in a moment's notice, and they were actually able to host this thing really well. The only struggle that I have is that they stopped. But if there's anything that you guys want to bring, anything that you have, that you throw it out there and we can talk about it. Otherwise, I'm done. I just wanted to jump on for a moment and kind of get this out there and see, kind of what see if we can get everybody ready. See if we can get people prepared, see if people can just around the world, go after revival, understanding that they are actually getting into something pretty hardcore, and it's not supposed to be short term. Asbury could have caused the ripple effect. It may have caused a huge impact on thousands of people who will continue this revival. Oh, I can absolutely see that. It would have been easier if they would have kept going, in my opinion, but I can certainly see that. Yeah. Yep. So, all right, guys, that's it. I'm going to cut it short today, and appreciate you all. Glad you showed up. My coffee, I just noticed the lid broke. I got to find the piece that goes on the top. It was chaos. I'm glad you didn't see any of it. I mean, it probably would have been fun if you saw it. I'm sitting here and I'm working on this camera, and all of a sudden the camera falls over. This one, let's see, that one, it goes and it falls over because I was working on the tripod. And then here's my coffee, over here, and my coffee goes this way, and it's all over the floor, all over the place. So I'm running out there because I knew my timer was on. I already started my timer, and I didn't know how much time I had left. And I'm running to the bathroom trying to find the stuff to clean it up. I'm like, Eva, need you to run and get some towels or rags. And she's running. I'll get a few more comments here real quick. So before I just about ended this, let's take a look. Murphy's already telling me to have a good day. Has anyone respectfully contacted Dr. Kevin J. Brown, the president of Asbury, to disagree with the decision? I have. No, I've usually found that stuff is not typically successful unless you have, relationship with the person, or a measure of influence, and so I don't typically do that. And plus it's, I'm not there. So, it's just not. I'll just tell you straight up. It would probably not work, And I've been in ministry long enough to know that pastors and leaders get tons and tons and tons and tons of emails from people who disagree with a decision, who disagree with theology, who have an issue with the style of ministry, with the flow of the service, with all of these kinds of things. They have issues. And so pastors are inundated with negative emails. Even a lot of them are written, nicely and appropriately, but they're still negative. And generally speaking, leaders ignore them for the sake of their own sanity. And so they really, really, really don't have impact. Sometimes, yes, you'll run into it. But, I know pastors and leaders are definitely under no obligation to respond to all these letters and that kind of stuff. And it's super easy. If I were to write them, they're like, well, you weren't here. You don't understand. God didn't talk to you specifically about our decision. He didn't, he spoke to us and this is what's going on. And these are the limitations. And this is what we could do and couldn't do. And they know all of this stuff on the inside. That's why I don't want to be too critical. I just want to raise concern, but it's not like they're in sin. They're not. I mean, they're wonderful people doing their best. So but messages from the outside just really don't work. Some of you that write your pastors or write different people like that, and maybe you're frustrated why they don't respond. That's standard practice. It's the more you respond, it's the Facebook thing. Have you ever won a debate on Facebook? Have you ever done that? I mean, have you ever done that? Have you ever written something on Facebook about an individual and that person is suddenly doing 180? It just doesn't really happen. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you feel led to write somebody, then write. Sure. I'm not. If there's an anointing on it and God, then sure. Let's see. Brian says hi. Hi, Brian. Let's see. Mark says, I don't expect it to work, but if we say 100% nothing, 100% nothing will happen. Love your social media stuff. I get it. I totally get it. Appreciate that. But yeah, I totally get it. It's my point. My point is that we on the outside, and even those on the inside, think about it this way. Even a leader's inner circle isn't always going to have influence in their life. Now, the closer the circle, the more they will. But those who are not on the inside and who aren't, they're just typically not going to be heard. And again, it's for the, I counsel pastors at times. I'm like, you just got to stop reading these emails. Stop it. And like my own experience is like it's pretty dang rare to get an email that's encouraging, which is sad. When you're in ministry, it's very rare. You can know about 95% of the time if you're receiving an email, and you can tell what kind it is. It's not an email asking when the next service is. You can tell an email with an agenda, good or bad. You can tell when you get an email like that, and you can tell that there's an issue. 95% of the time, it is not going to be a letter of encouragement. It's just the facts. Unfortunately. And so pastors have to guard their heart. They have to, their pastors' wives even, or spouses, they've got to be guarded as well. There's a lot of pastors' wives out there, for example, that they dread the next email that's going to come in, trying to bring correction or trying to whatever, And so that's just the point I'm making is, it's a difficult thing, and leaders are pretty wired these days not to give an ear to outside people, and they, because they have others, they should anyway, they have others around them. They have wise counsel around them, right? So they don't typically need the outside viewpoint when they've got seasoned, trusted, faithful people that love them around them. So those are the people that they're going to want to listen to. So, anyway, just, I don't know. That was a little bit of a tangent from what you were saying. I didn't mean to spend that much time on it, but I appreciate the point. It's a good point. It is. And I love how you wrote the word respectfully, which is absolutely key. Absolutely. And I'm not even saying that we shouldn't do it. I'm not saying that. But I hope you caught my heart on that. I wasn't trying to, I think I talked too much on that. I turned it into a deal. I didn't mean to turn it into a deal. But can we have influence? I think there's ways. We're living in a day right now where it's all about influencers, social media influencers and YouTubers. And, right now I've got video going on and I'm trying to influence somebody a little bit, right? I do my TikToks. So my wife and I have our travel YouTube channel. So, we're influencers, I guess. And so the whole idea of influence, that is a thing. And there's got to be ways to do it, right? And there's got to be ways to respectfully, like you said, and positively influence those who are making important decisions, key decisions, leaders in the body. And I'll tell you this: the best leaders are those who can lead those who are quote unquote under them, meaning they've got a following. They can also lead those who are ahead of them. And so they got this influence, and it doesn't just go backwards. It also goes forward. And so there's a way where we should be able to influence those who are further down the road than us, those who are in different positions than us, those who are over us, those who are, in different positions, than us. We should be able to effectively influence them in a way where they don't shrink back or reject the message wholesale or refuse to even give an ear. There's got to be a way to influence all that that God wants to influence. And so let's see here. What else we got? Abigail says, we were so close to stopping this live, weren't we? So close. We need to build each other up, not tear each other down, not to say that we shouldn't speak truth, but there's nice ways to do that. That is correct. Mark says, you're the best, John Burton. Hey, thank you very much. And how do you say that? When I was in San Diego, when I lived there, they used to say this all the time. CI, that means goodbye, right? CI, I don't know how you say it. I don't know how to say it. I don't remember. It's been a while. So, all right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Hey, guess what? I'm going to see the, what's the name of the movie? Jesus Revolution, or Jesus, is that what it's called? The Chuck Smith movie? The Jesus Movement movie? Calvary Chapel? I've heard that it's off the hook. And so I'm going to go do that. Also, those of you that are following us on TPF Travel, we're going to be doing a video really soon on our new vacation rental that we've got here in Branson. And so we're going to show you the inside of that. And then you can actually start renting that right now. If you want to, you can check that out. So anyway, so we're going to go to the movie. Got to leave here in about 45 minutes or so. And but other than that, just stay tuned. I'm going to keep these lives coming out as often as I can, and also the TikToks and YouTube Shorts, and also the full-length teachings and audio teachings and all sorts of stuff. So we got a lot going on, but you guys are amazing, and I pray blessings in your life. And I've got to go find my the lid to my coffee after my coffee disaster as we started this video. All right, blessings to you all.